If you've been living under a rock and you haven't seen, I have been building my very own dream custom theme park in Planet Coaster 2, using some of my favourite ride types in the world, such as a massive B&M invert, and I made it Viking themed, very cool, if I do say so myself, a Greek themed area with a drop track roller coaster and some other stuff as well, and yeah, we've now moved on to a steampunk themed area. I know when you say Greek and sort of Viking, steampunk doesn't really come to mind after that. But in the previous episode, I started building a brand new Vekoma tilt coaster in that area, and today we are going to make another coaster in that area, which will be mostly completed in this video, and a lot of the area is now coming together, and I'm going to showcase that to you today. So if you do enjoy and you want to stay up to date on this series, then please be sure to subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. And as per usual with every single episode in this series, we are here in the time-lapse footage. Welcome to episode 8 properly. I realise I always say welcome back to episode 8, and then when we reach the time-lapse I say welcome back again. What's the point? Just in general, welcome to episode 8. There's the third time. As you can see, we are building a very strange roller coaster here. It is an inverted coaster, as you can see, another inverted coaster to add to the roster in this theme park. A lot different from the other one though, because this one only runs one train. Yes, I know we're going for efficiency here, and I'm running one train on a coaster. But why is that? Because if you haven't noticed already, it's an Intamin impulse coaster. It is not a generic invert. It's actually a boomerang. They have quite a few of these around the world, I think less now, and they literally just go back and forth through the station, just going up into a spike and then through the station up into another spike. So not very exciting, but there have been a couple different variations of this coaster that go into like an entirely different layout, and some that have, you know, more than one train and actually run a full layout rather than a boomerang, such as Volcano the Blast coaster. That looked incredible. And I would have really loved to have gone on that. So I decided to make something different here, because my original idea was a Vekoma boomerang, and it was going to be a family one. And I know I said I wouldn't build a Vekoma ever again in this park, or ever again, ever. But I really wanted to build a Vekoma family boomerang. I thought it would be perfect for the area, and just sort of having this one coaster that tilts you all the way down a drop, to having this one with a vertical spike or near vertical spike, that families could ride, and like, you know, you would have a nice layout behind the scenes in like a warehouse or whatever. That was the idea. But the model that I used to do it with was the Schwarzkopf, and you can't seem to make it do that anymore. Don't ask why I used a Schwarzkopf to make a Vekoma boomerang, but that's what you had to do back in the days of Planet Coaster 1. But I tried to do it in this, and it just didn't work, so I decided to opt out and go for the Intamin Impulse boomerang instead. And this layout does change quite a bit. Sort of, you know, similar to this eventually, but it's a lot more simple. There's no turn in the middle, because I realised that turn, you're going backwards at that point, so it'd probably be quite painful. But I decided to change it so it's a lot better of a ride. And I don't know if you actually see that in this time lapse. I might have cut it out or stopped filming, which is great, isn't it? I'm really bad at filming stuff. You'll see so much that I've actually built off camera in this like actual showcase that I go into in real time. More so than normal, I think, because this time I just went off and built loads. So, because this has been quite a tedious area to build, I can't lie to you. The Viking area, the Greek area were quite fun. This has been fun as well, of course, but it has taken a lot longer to do, purely because of the amount of detail that needs to go into some of this, like, wallage, if that's even a word. But the walls around the entire area and everything like that, it just feels like it needs so much detailing to actually work well. You can see behind the actual tilt of the main coaster in the area. That's what the sort of detailing we're going for across the whole plot of land. So we actually are seeing the actual layout being built. That's quite cool. I didn't think I filmed it. I slated myself for that. I'll take it all back. There you go, that's the final layout. We have a nice upside down spike, because why not? I don't know if that's a world's first, or I don't know. I thought it looked quite cool. And this coaster, as you can see by that little corner down there, that again, I didn't time-lapse, so I go back to slating myself again. But as you can see, there is some water features down in the sort of, I don't know, like depths of that bit of the area. And I thought, you know what, we have this massive roller coaster, the tilt coaster in the area. Why not make that some sort of like steampunk, like machine going wrong or something, I don't know, which you guys had some great suggestions for, and we will get into that. But why not make this coaster itself a lot more sort of, not a darker theme per se. I'd say it's probably on the same level as the other one. It's still a light theme outside, but maybe some of the insides of like the queue line and stuff is a little bit darker. But I wanted to make it more waterworks, you know, steampunk waterworks. Does that really work? I don't know. I mean, I had a lot of inspiration from Fly on this, and Fly does have water effects around it, so, you know, there it goes, up the spike. The colour scheme is literally Fly as well. What am I talking about? And quickly, just before we end this time lapse, I know a very short episode compared to the previous ones, but again, that's because I've just been doing the same thing over and over again pretty much. I wanted to show you me creating that massive cog or gear that I said I was going to put on the top of the tilt coaster. I said that I'd love to see, you know, if I could make a gear or a cog at the top of that coaster that when the actual tilt starts happening, it starts rotating with the ride as if that's what's powering it to tilt. And I really wanted to do that, a lot like Baron 1898. And I went for it, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think I'm going to probably go back and actually sort a few things out with it, because it's not perfect, but I am super happy with it so far. So I had to make it out of these small little shapes, as you pretty much do with anything in Planet Coaster 2. Although I can say the aquatic pack has been very useful for the steampunk theming, so I'll give them that. But as you can see, going for a nice brown colour there. I think the colour scheme of this coaster is going to stay in the sort of like steel, iron, just grey colour scheme. And a bit of brown and green as well. That's what you'll see throughout the area. A bit of reds as well. And there you go. There's the spinning a little bit. I don't even know if that's in time. I might have just said that when it's not even spinning. Adding some details across it as well. I'll probably add a few more hopefully later down the line. This was very much inspired from my Ride to Happiness recreation, because there was various points where on like the buildings and stuff where I had to put in like little circles and studs to sort of make details, and it looked really nice. So I thought I'd sort of transfer that in to this creation here. And I'm really happy with how it turned out, and we should put it on. There you go. It's going on now. It's going to go on one side and the other. I literally said that as it was happening. And it's going to rotate as the tilt happens. So we will cut to real time, and I'll show you that working and sort of the sight lines around the area, and also just how steampunky it actually is. So as said, you join me here in the park. As you can see, the Greek themed area over there. Wow, look at it across the lake. Oh God. I think the steampunk area is lagging out my PC even more, but we should be fine, I hope. That being said, the Greek area in front and the Viking area off to the right behind these trees and this mountain, we then move over to this wall here. Now, this is nowhere near... Oh, hello. Complete, of course. It's got a massive line going through it and it looks awful. So this sort of area here, going to make some buildings that suit this sort of area vibe. And as you can see, the entrance over there, we will do something with all of this to make it fit in a lot more, I promise. But that is once we have fully finished the steampunk themed area, which I'm going to need a name for this area as well, by the way. So if you have any suggestions for that, then leave them down below. But as we go through this little portal into the area, as you can see, there is the tilt coaster. Obviously, still very unfinished on the left-hand side, but there is the main attraction to this area. And there the cogs are spinning on the side. We have a name for this coaster as well. And there it goes. The cogs will stop spinning in a second, if it wants to. There we go. It's finally lined up. It'll drop off, and they'll stop spinning. So happy with how that turned out. Absolutely love that sort of, you know, movement. I love it. But as you enter the area, you've got the vertical loop of the coaster off to the left. You've got the two nebulas as well. Nebulae down there, which is still heavily unfinished. As said, we're going to focus on that in the next episode, because in this episode, rather than focusing on the tilt and everything else, I actually decided to focus mainly on this coaster, and it is pretty much finished. But there's loads of water effects everywhere. Some pipes have some leakages and stuff. There's loads of stuff all over the walls, and of course the main spike of the ride as it goes down. I really didn't mean to do this, but the fact we have one ride that drops riders like a tilt coaster like that, and then another ride that sort of propels you into the air and then just lets you free fall back down. I didn't really mean to do it, but I think it's quite cool. But as you can see, the start of the entire wall for the tilt coaster, and I'm actually going to go over here first because we won't be POVing this in this episode because it is heavily unfinished, especially the indoor sections, but we'll go and see the name of the ride. And the name I've gone for was suggested by the 4992, and it was Cognition. Now, I absolutely love this name purely because not only are we going for that sort of cog theme, but it just suits steampunk so well. Custom supports there. Wow, look at it go. But yeah, I absolutely love the name Cognition. Thank you for sending that in. And if you have ones for the nebulas as well, I know a few of you have been sending in those suggestions already, but if you have any more, and also for that coaster there you go. But we'll get to that. Thanks for the name, Cognition. Very cool. What is going on? Why does this always happen? But over there, I made sure Cognition's entrance was right up against that main center point of the ride, and I've done the exact same here. This main spike, the entrance is right here. So again, get those suggestions in for the name. It'll go right here, and I think it'll look quite cool. Look at that twist. But as we enter the unfinished queue line, as you can see, we're not going to go through there because it's unfinished because of the Vekoma coaster. That's why. So I haven't just rushed this, I promise. But if we continue on down to the station, here we are. I'm not going to ride it yet. We will look at the station, of course, some low-level lighting, some different things on ride. The lighting in this game is a bit bugged, I can't lie. But you've got a nice water effect above. I did try and make it some sort of like glass water tank, but it's pretty impossible. And yeah, went for that. And I think it looks pretty nice. The blue and of course the nice low-level lights. You are in the waterworks factory thing. So if that's a storyline you want to go for with the name, feel free. But it's about time we ride this thing, isn't it? So of course, with this being a boomerang, it's nothing special, so it's not going to be the best ride in the park. But as you can see, we have some theme in there. This is the unfinished portion because, well, I need to work it out for the Vekoma coaster. And then we go into the spike. Quite smooth. And then back down all the way backwards. And around here, there'll be some more water jets and theming and stuff. And you go past this little rig here, and it actually explodes and sets on fire, to which we then go backwards. Some water along the floor here. See, the lighting just messes this up. It looks so much better in the dark, and it looks so bad in the light. And then we go upside down. On the front, you don't really go upside down that much, but you go up the other spike further, so I feel like it gives you more of a reason to ride in the front and the back. Go through here. Gonna add some water jets along there, sequencing with the ride. And then we go past that again. Sadly, the explosion will set off again. I don't know how to go about that and only set it off once. We go higher up the spike this time, almost to the top, flying off. And we go back down and into the station. Of course, with a boomerang, didn't want to make it too long, so the throughput is fine. And at the same time, you know, it's just a nice little ride. Over here will be the entrance to a dark ride that I'm going to work on. Probably an Omni-Mover style one, because I've always wanted to build one of them in this game since that released. And yeah, I really can't wait to not lag. Stop. To go on with the rest of this steampunk themed area and eventually go on to build something over here. Sort of, you know, on the back of it. And I feel like we can do quite a good job with that, because I've made it green. Yes, we're doing the Alton Towers method. Make everything green so we can fit it in. But yeah, like I said, next episode, all of the tilt coaster will be complete and we can get a full look at that with a POV. And we're going to get a name for this coaster here, so suggest them down below and the area. And then in the next episode after that, we will start the dark ride over here. I hope you guys enjoyed this shorter episode. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see the next one next week. Goodbye.